Retro.
And welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Animanicast.
You mean Pinky McCall go vroom now?
And welcome, everybody, once again to the Animanicast. This, of course, is the podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows within the Rueggerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky and the Brain, and Freakazoid. And today, we are reviewing yet another episode of the Animaniacs Reboot. That's right, we're talking about the third episode of the third season of the reboot. Yeah, it includes Planet Warner, Taladega Mice, and D.I.WHY. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
I have no idea what you're saying, but it's stressing me out.
And across the country in Georgia, there's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, poor Nathan. It did remind me, today's episode did remind me of taking my brothers on driving lessons and yelling at them as they were driving. But yes, today we are talking about the third episode of the third season, the final season of the reboot, which, like I said before, has the segments Planet Warner, Taladega Mice, The Ballad of Pinky Brainy, and D.I.WHY. And of course, today's episode premiered on February 17th of 2023. And boy, if someone were to ask you about today's episode to, I don't know, just summarize it, to describe it in just a few words, what would you say, Nathan?
It's all about doing it yourself. I don't know. There's a song about that.
Yeah, it's true. And Kelly, what about you?
I learned how a new character is made.
There we are. Or at least how it maybe shouldn't be made. But at any rate, yes, well, let's get right into our discussion. But before we do, we got to go over to Nathan for a very important segment, which, of course, is our February fun facts for February 17th. Nathan, hit us with the February fun facts for February 17th theme song, please.
The song is called the February Facts for February 17th, and it goes like this. And it speeds up now because it's going a little faster. And Nathan says the way the song goes. And now we know some more facts about February 17th. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great theme song. If you like that theme song, then make sure to stay tuned to after our discussion today, because we, of course, have another segment. We tried it last episode, and that, of course, is our Water Tower Trivia. We have another one of that coming up with these wonderful questions. Can't wait for the song that is just going to blow people's minds once again.
I have it already written and ready. All the melody is all planned out. Oh,
excellent. Man. Okay, well, Nathan, please tell us what are our February fun facts for February 17th?
All right. Well, going all the way back to 1934, there was a cartoon called Honeymoon Hotel. It's a Warner Brothers Merry Melodies cartoon directed by Earl Duvall, and it was released on February 17th, 1934. It's a 7-minute long little thing, and it's all about learning how animation occurs. This is like one of those kinds of things. I don't know. It's about a bug who checks into a hotel and the hotel catches on fire.
What? This sounds very intriguing. Okay, what is this called again? Because I'm actually going to try to check this out.
Okay, it's called Honeymoon Hotel, and there's also a song, Honeymoon Hotel.
And who? Oh, there's also a song for it. And which studio did this?
This is Merry Melodies.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's very. I mean, it and on paper, it matches up with Warner Brothers because
It's true. It's about making a cartoon. Okay,
they're
we'll
in
go
the
with
thing.
it.
So
All right,
there we go.
check it out, folks. Look that up. All right.
And then going on to 1960, another kind of Warner Brothers thing here. American rock duo the Everly Brothers signs with Warner Brothers Records in a 10-year contract worth $1 million. And I was like, I didn't know who the Everly Brothers are, but I've definitely heard some songs. They're an influence of the Beatles, even. So,
Yeah, the Everly Brothers. I think they were actually cousins. Actually,
oh wow.
They sang the song. I don't know. One of them. Bye bye
Isn't it-
love.
Bye bye love. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye bye
bye-bye.
happiness.
Don't they also sing the song from Ghost, Unchained Melody? Or is that them?
I don't think that was them. I don't think so.
They did it. They did.
That's
a
the
bunch of
Righteous
songs.
Brothers. My bad.
Yes,
Oh.
I was going to say that's.
I
I was going to say that's
some kind of
different brothers. Yeah, different
Okay.
brothers. So I'm just going to
right.
say $1 million in 1960, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how much. Okay, let's see how much $1 million would be. That'd be like $10 million today.
So that they did pretty well. That was pretty good, especially because no one cared about giving anybody money to artists.
Yeah.
And then finally, in themes of doing it yourself, 1995, the Brady Bunch movie was released. That was a movie they had to save their house by doing it themselves.
I really like that movie too. That is, I think that movie. I wonder how well that would have aged. I think relatively well. We'll see. I would be curious about checking that movie out again. I liked it in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, there's your fun facts. Well, let's go ahead and get into our discussion of today's episode. First of all, today's variable verse was fair pay for trainees.
Fair pay for trainees.
And Dot was given a lot of money to that minimum wage worker right there. So, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, was he a trainee or it was like what?
I wasn't quite sure. Like they were
minimum wage employee. It's like what?
It was a little bit confusing, but Dot's willing to give anybody, and everybody, even on their first day when they're a trainee, loads of cash. So she's feeling very generous in this one. Okay, let's go ahead and get to our first segment. You're still recording. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get to our discussion of our first segment right here, and it's called Planet Warner. And Planet Warner was written by Lucas Crandalls and Timothy Nash, and it was directed by Brett Varon and Katie Rice. And Kelly, why don't you tell us what happens here in Planet Warner?
Okay. The episode's sort of like a nature documentary sort of thing, and it's looking into the lives of the Warner studio and the Warner siblings. There's narration going on. They kind of act like animals at different parts.
But high above the asphalt plains, safe from the predators below, the Warners. Some stir gently, others less so. Others still have risen already in search of food. This adolescent male requires upwards of 20,000 calories per day to survive.
Wacko gets really hungry, and he doesn't say he's hungry, but like his stomach kind of becomes a character, sort of weird looking thing, and they want to go in search of food. And then it also is showing what goes on behind the scenes of the writer's room, and sort of looking into the habitats of the writers and how they don't usually get into work until about noon. And then they lock themselves in the writer's room and they kind of stare at each other, trying to come up with ideas and reject ideas. And so one of them goes to the dry erase board, and then everybody kind of leans forward to see what she's going to write up there. And
The creative process is long and arduous. Many pitches will die in this room.
she starts drawing papers out of like a hat, I think, and just sticking things up on the board. So it's like a right. No, it's like a horned heron.
Hamster boy or something, right?
Yeah. Hamster, horned heron, and it's boy. And so they get all excited because now they've got an idea. So they put that idea on a thumb drive, and one of the assistants takes it to the animation department.
Here, in the heart of animation, the deadline is king. The porcine snout of the cunning wild boar, the talons of the humble heron, and the grace of the majestic hamster.
So he does it on the computer, animates it, sort of gets an idea of what it looks like. The lady takes it to the executives, because now it's like the next stage of things. And so Rita is there, and she does this, like, not a mating dance, but sort of like this weird ritual.
Fingers.
Yeah, to sort of assert her dominance in the wild.
It kind of looked like West Side Story.
West Side Story is what I was thinking. The sharks in the
well,
chest.
the snapping definitely did.
Yeah.
This ritualistic dance is an intimidating display of authority. The submissive posture of the producer does little to stem the tirade.
And there's this tense moment, and then she closes the computer, and she does not like the animated.
It's hog, heron, hamster boy.
Okay.
There we go. Hog.
She doesn't like the hog. So the lady takes the laptop and like dumps it out into a trash can, and then the character exists in real life now, sort of, and tries to get on a bus, but there's no money in his pockets, and they don't let him on the bus, and he's kind of sad and just kind of wanders. So that's what happens to rejected animated characters, apparently.
They're just roaming the earth now.
So back to the Warners, they go in search of food, and they see like a food truck or a kiosk, and I guess it's got churros. It looks like
no, not churros.
Not
something
churros.
Much more delicious, in my opinion.
What was it?
Tamales.
Oh, tamales. It looked like churros.
I love.
Maybe.
Have you had tamales? I don't know. Do they have tamales in Georgia?
Probably, but I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
They have tamales. See here, I love tamales. I'm big in Tucson.
We have a Tucson tamales.
There's a Tucson tamale company. Actually, it's pretty. Actually, they sell their tamales all around the country, I think. But one of the best things about working at a school is that there's and having a high Hispanic population is that there will be families that just make tamales, and then they'll sell them to the teachers for like $20-$25 for a dozen. So I get like once a month, like handmade, like fresh tamales, I should say. Oh my gosh, so delicious! They're so good.
Really like them tamales.
Oh, they are great. Green corn tamales and beef tamales. Oh boy, I'm telling you, you gotta check them out.
Before lunch, yeah.
The Warners, I was very jealous of those tamales that the Warners were eating because I was like, I want them. Those look good. Anyway,
it made me think of churros and Disney World. So,
putting hot sauce on a churro would not be.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I've never had a churro, but I've got friends that are always talking about the churros at Disney. But anyway,
okay. We got to pause for a minute. What, you've been to Disney World? I don't know how many times. You've never had a churro?
No.
This is ridiculous.
I get like funnel cake.
We need to get. Well, it's
very different than a churro.
Very different. But yeah,
I know, but that's what I like to get when I go.
Okay. I think
the Dole Whips and the funnel cakes.
Okay, you got to get a churro next time you go because there has to be a churro intervention. Okay.
I had churro popcorn for lunch today. That's so random. That's weird.
Anyways, so they try to go get the food, but the narrator is talking about the Ralph. And, hopefully they don't attract the attention of the Ralph. And the Ralph is this guard station. And then the narrator starts, repeating and in a louder voice, yelling sort of. And then Ralph wakes up. And so the tamale guy sees Ralph coming and shuts down. Ralph is running towards the Warners with a net.
Meanwhile, the Warners are nimble. But the Ralph, fueled by the half-dozen pancakes he ate for breakfast, won't give up this chase easily. The Ralph has zeroed in on the oldest, most frail member of the herd. His capture is now a mere formality.
Ralph is chasing him, and then they do a Roadrunner gag. Where
he's right about to catch Yakko, the oldest and weakest of the clan, or something.
Yes, and so they do this Roadrunner gag where he paints a hole in a wall. Ralph gets flattened to the size of a pancake, and they do a little Roadrunner beep beep thing and run off. And I think they
then it shows them back in the tower, and they're stuffing their faces.
Yeah, and there you go.
Wacko's just eating the corn paper, though, or whatever.
I think he's eating. Yeah,
weird.
I couldn't tell if it was there's a. I thought at first it was the wrapping, the paper wrapping, but yes, the tamales are wrapped in a corn leaf. What was it? The husk.
Or something. Yeah,
yeah, the husk of the corn. So he might have just been eating the disgusting, not disgusting, but definitely not the part that the tamale you're supposed to eat. But yes, there you go.
Oh, shucks. Is that right? Shucking corn.
Well, there you go. There's our first segment. When it comes to cultural references, I guess the biggest one was the Planet Earth thing, right? With David Attenborough. Guy, who's our voice actor here who's doing a great David Attenborough
I think
impression?
It's Neil Ross, I believe.
Yeah. Well, he did a fantastic job. He's the only real voice that you hear, because all the voice actors are not really present in this one. It's all done with just animal like sound effects noises for each character, even the humans, which I thought was kind of a neat idea.
I liked the background music.
Well, that's the Bernsteins right there.
It was different from what we normally hear, and it was just really, really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to cultural references, I think it was basically just Planet Earth, and then the I guess the Roadrunner thing.
There's some, there's some little art. Yeah. There's like art sticky notes and things like that.
Yeah, there was some clip art or kind of stuff from the Warners in the background, and I guess they kind of, I don't know, they're kind of referring to sequels that The Rock might do and stuff like that. So I guess that's a cultural reference
like
as well.
Aquaman. It was as if Rock was Aquaman, because it was kind of weird.
Yeah. So and of course I thought it was kind of cute that the executives are all like hyenas, basically. So yeah, there you go. Well, at any rate, any other cultural references, Nathan?
Neil Ross was in the original Animaniacs series. Who did the narrator voice and jockey for position in Super Buttons. So there's an announcer in those. Yeah, so he's back. He's back, baby.
Well, what did you like about this first segment? What did you notice that it was funny or not funny or anything like that? Nathan, let's just start with you.
I thought it was clever. I don't know. It was kind of a funny idea. I'm guessing it must have been so easy for all the voice actors since they didn't have to do anything. I don't know if you get paid, though, for...
I don't think so. But
I assume they get paid the same per episode.
I think so. I think I think this is something I read that you as long as you voice a certain amount of characters per episode, you get paid the same amount per episode.
Yeah.
It's a certain amount. Like once you get past 3 or something, 2 or 3, I think you can do 2, maybe even 3. But once you get to 4 or 5 different characters, your amount goes up. So
that's cool.
Yeah, at least that's what I heard once a long time ago.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it was like, oh, that's cool. And yeah, it was kind of fun. There's some fun little jokes about making fun of writers and making fun of animators. Little poking fun at themselves, which is always a little fun. And traffic's so bad in LA.
It is, and the one I didn't really get the 101 joke, but Nathan, being a former California resident,
it can be really bad on the 101. It can be bad on all.
Exactly. It was like, what's different with the 101 versus any other freeway around rush hour? That's my main thing.
Yeah,
they're all crazy.
Mhm.
Kelly, anything else you noticed in this that you thought was amusing?
No, I think I mentioned it all, or Nathan did. So
All right. Well, yeah, this is this first one. It was very much, I don't know. It felt like for the most part like a regular episode, like a classic episode, I suppose, of Animaniacs. So I was pleasantly surprised, especially after the last 2 episodes that we've reviewed, to find this one was like, oh, this one actually kind of feels familiar in a way. So, all right. Let's go to move on to Taladega Mice, the Ballad of Pinky Brainy. And Taladega Mice, the Ballad of Pinky Brainy, was written by Brad DePrima and directed by Matt Yang. And Nathan, why don't you tell us what happens here in this Pinky and the Brain episode?
All right. Well, Pinky manages to set some ball going on these sort of tracks and everything, and he manages to catch the mouse in the game of Mousetrap, which is pretty awesome because he is a genius. He figured out it's easier just to catch yourself. So smart Pinky there.
I won! I caught the mouse!
Meanwhile, Brain decides to tell Pinky his plan for world domination, which we don't actually really hear anything of it other than he's going to steal all the money out of Fort Knox.
It's another episode where the Brain needs money.
Yeah, just like, well, just get money. I don't know.
Just get a lot of money, and that's all we'll take.
Right now, we're gonna, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. So, they do point out that they have done that before, but that's okay.
I shall lead the army of cars under the gates of Fort Knox and steal the gold reserves 1 bar at a time.
Fort Knox? Didn't we already do that plan, Brain?
Yes, Pinky, but it was poorly conceived and executed. Besides, as Rudolf Steiner once said, one can ascend to a higher development only by bringing rhythm and repetition into one's life.
I was hoping, I hope that's not the writers saying that the other writers wrote a bad episode.
No, I don't think
okay.
I think it's more putting an homage to it, but it was poorly conceived because they got there and didn't think how to actually take it out of
exactly.
Fort Knox. They
just
thought
lifted
only
up
about how to get into Fort Knox, but now he thought about how to get it out of Fort Knox.
Yeah, but yeah, I do miss those kinds of things where this season has been doing with Pinky and the Brain, where it's just like, I need money. Well, for what? Well, give us the funny idea. Like even if you're not going to show it being executed at all, just tell us what it is. Because I don't know. I guess it's just too hard to come up with those ideas.
Well, I
just
think,
saying Peter Hastings could do it.
Yeah, Charles M. Howell and things they were always like, he talked about how much work they were like trying to get into it, and he would present it to Tom Ruegger. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Tom Ruegger's like, just put him in a funny situation. Like, it doesn't matter what the.
It reminds me of how with Paul Rugg and John P. McCann were talking about how we found out how Freakazoid turns. How Dexter turns. They spent like an entire day trying to figure out how Freakazoid turns into himself.
Into Freakazoid, yeah.
And he goes to Tom, what have you worked on today? We found out how he changes. It's like, I don't care about that. Just get the funny stuff. So yeah, they're just trying to get to the funny stuff, which is the driving thing. Okay, so so anyway. So his idea is to steal these little cars that were made for mice. So like really, it seems like a very lazy plan. Other times he's built a whole car that was like big enough for people to get it into. Now he's like can't even build a mouse-sized car for himself. But this one would take out individual bars of gold. I mean, how are they going to lift that bar of gold into the car to begin with? Is a whole other thing, because that was the whole problem to begin with. Okay.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah, he's going to get these remote warrior cars and an army of cars is what they're called. Yeah. So
maybe the cars will lift them themselves because they're all robotic, so they could lift the gold.
Yeah,
sure,
that makes sense. They're going to steal it from the Acme Institute of Technology, where these students have built some prototypes there.
It's our second Roadrunner and Coyote gag or reference in the same episode, by the way. The whole Coyotes at the Acme thing. So there you go.
It's true. So they go at lunchtime because, of course, everyone's at lunch at that time.
Oh, please. Feeling solidarity with another person simply because they're enrolled at the same institution is a form of rambunctious jingoism as detestable as any other vulgar bias.
Well, aren't you a cranky little crash queen?
Okay, you've said your fun words at my expense. Now come, Pinky. The robotics lab is in there. If all goes according to plan, everyone will be at lunch and the lab will be empty.
What if they take a working lunch, Brain? You ever think of that?
These cars are in this maze, and Brain has scanned the whole maze ahead of time, so he already knows all the turns to make. But Pinky doesn't look like he can navigate well because he can't help but put it in his mouth. So Pinky will drive, Brain will navigate with his little map. Unfortunately, Pinky is not handling the stress of Brain yelling at him constantly, and also the car measures how much stress the mouse has somehow, and if the driving mouse is too stressed, the car will break down.
Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Brain. But I've already tried pressing my belly's button, and my tummy butler isn't responding!
No, Pinky. It appears the car's behavior is linked to the driver's corticosterone levels. Your stress is what's causing the car to malfunction.
I have no idea what you said, but it's stressing me out!
I don't know. So, Brain has to find ways to make it so the driving isn't stressful for Pinky. So, he talks in a baby voice.
Please make a weft, Pinky.
He does some impressions of some famous actors.
You, Christopher Lloyd! His voice relaxes me, Brain!
Christopher Lloyd? Pinky, I'm not very good at impressions.
Do it!
Popularized in Cody Island at the dawn of the 20th century.
And he even has a tickle fight.
All right. Tickle.
And he holds Pinky's hand. And that's all that's enough to get them through the maze and out. And unfortunately, Pinky is distracted by a red balloon and crashes the car and it explodes. So they just have to go back to the lab. And tomorrow night they'll try to take over the world again, I guess. And then that's it.
And the balloon, I had to rewind it a couple times to find out where this sword balloon came from, but it came from the lab technician that blew it up.
And he has helium breath.
He has helium breath. There's a whole other issue going on in that lab where people are exhaling helium.
Yeah.
Or nitrogen. You know, either way, you're in trouble. You're in trouble either way. It is an alien, perhaps. Although I did like it when the technician dropped his smoothie and then just covered it with the napkin.
And walked away. Yeah.
And walked away. I was like, that did make me chuckle. So yeah, this episode has, I mean, like we mentioned the Roadrunner Coyote thing, but I guess the cultural references of the impressions that the brain has to do, including who we have? Dr. Emmett Brown. We had Christopher Lloyd. We had Morgan Freeman. We had Orson Welles. Which brain saying, "I can't do Orson Welles. I can't possibly." Pinky. But yes, it was great to see hear Maurice LaMarche's impressions. His Christopher Lloyd was actually very impressive. I thought that was really, really good. And let's see, they also refer to Bumblebee from the Transformers movie.
It rhymes with Bumblebee.
Bumblebee rhymes with Bumblebee.
An army of robotic cars? I like the one that's the color of a bumblebee, Brain. What was its name? It rhymes with Bumblebee.
No, Pinky, this is vastly different.
True.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's for cultural references, but there's a lot of cute stuff in this one. Kelly, what did you like in this Pinky and the Brain segment?
I thought the impressions were funny, and that he asked him to do an Orson Welles, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I really liked his impression. I really like Pinky's like freaking out. There's this part where Rob is just screaming as Pinky, and that it just I listened and watched this episode many times, and that one really just made me smile each time. Was just hearing his delivery of those lines was quite funny. Nathan, what about you?
I really enjoyed their chemistry. I guess it's shipping them again, but them holding hands and tickle fighting. There you go. Is another.
I mean, I guess it was kind of weird. I'm sure that some people would probably also sexualize the whole putting your finger in the other person's mouth kind of thing.
I thought I was like, I assumed they were going to be holding it, and then immediately just puts it in his mouth.
Which
is so weird.
Which is kind of super weird, but it first I'm like, what the heck? And I'm thinking, okay, he's doing it kind of like sucking a thumb. And it reminded me how, like, one of my dogs, whenever I get home, he has to, like, put my hand in his mouth. Like, he will literally go to sleep. He will go to sleep with my hand in his mouth, and he'll just fall asleep on the couch because he will not be relaxed until he's able to do that. So I was just like, okay, this is like me and my dog. But I'm sure it would be very, with the way the internets are, I'm sure that many people took that the wrong way, or perhaps the right way. I'm not exactly sure the intent on that moment in today's episode. But
have you seen the movie Talladega Nights? Is there anything about?
I have seen it, and I did not see any shake and bake or anything like that, other than that it was racing. I do think there was a possible maybe South Park reference in this one, where the after the bridge goes away and burns in the lava, the brain says, "And it's gone."
And it's gone.
And to me, that was like, oh, is that like the South Park one where the banker is moving all the money around? And
we can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
Probably not.
I doubt that, but that's what it brought to my mind. But yeah, it's a pretty good Pinky in the Brain. I did think that the brain, kind of trying to be nice to Pinky was interesting, and him, the whole tickle fight kind of thing was nice, because you do see that the brain does care about Pinky, and just it kind of loses himself when he's just, despite himself, he can't, even when they're in such a serious situation, he's like, oh, no, we're having fun. That was cute. So at any rate, Kelly, Nathan, anything else that you noticed in this segment that you'd like to talk about?
Nope.
Nathan? Okay, we're going to move on then. Let's go to the last segment, and this is called D.I.WHY. And D.I.WHY was written by Kathleen Chen and Brian Polk, was directed by Matt Yang. And in this one, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot are going to a framing store because they have some fan art that they want to get framed.
It's fan art.
Isn't it, Babu? See, they gave me a huge... Anyway, we'd like to get it framed.
But Yakko, of course, gets into this philosophical debate, or at least statement, that an Ivy League education isn't really worth much money, and it offends the framing person, so they kick him out of the store. And so they say, so Dot thinks, well, we just make it ourselves.
It's homemade, home crafted, and home fries.
That's it. You just gave me an idea. I can just make us a frame. We'll DIY it.
DIY? Back in the day, they called that making stuff because you had to.
It proceeds to go into a song about how you can make everything yourself. You can just, all you need are these things. And she lists off a whole bunch of expensive things, and then proceeds to show about how the final product is not that great, but you made it.
You'll need some wood, spinning blades, and paper, nails, paint,
And first aid.
voila, you see you did it all for free.
Wacko does the same, talking about how you could, make your own like a vase or pottery or something like that, and he kind of smashes some things together and takes people's flowers and pots and stuff like that, and ends up making something not so great, but you just need a lot of hot glue and paint. And of course, Yakko then sings his part, which is about getting a pool, and so they take the parking lot that's in front of the water tower and they flip all the cars out and make a big ugly hole in the ground and fill it with a fire hydrant water, and all go swimming in the disgusting pool. This, of course, makes everybody very upset, and because people have been wronged through the zaniness of Yakko, Wakko, and Dot. So they throw them all into the water tower, and as they do, Dot's frame that she made breaks.
My beautiful, terribly made frame!
Well, I guess the next time we want something for free, we'll just ask our fans to do it and disguise it as a social media initiative.
Sounds good to me.
Well, what are some things that you noticed in this that you liked? Nathan, let's start with you.
I like that I learned how to make a frame, and the song was good. I liked that. I thought it had the beat was better than last week's, at least, where it was like not so slow.
Yeah. It was like an up-tempo song.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, do it yourself. Yeah, all right. And then so I mean, I thought it was a little mean to some of the people, but I'm glad they, I guess, got back at them. But
Yeah,
I did feel bad about this like woman that's not even doing it. I remember we were looking at the trailer, like, oh man, she must be the bad guy in this episode that they flip her into the air.
Yeah, we were off on that one.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, what about you?
Oh, I was not a big fan of it.
Ah.
I don't know. I just didn't like the song that much, and but I did think it was funny that they were going to turn to the fans and have them make a frame for them.
Yeah. I did like the commentary on do-it-yourself projects where it's like, why are people even doing these things? They're so trendy right now, but literally you have to put in so much time and money and effort to make something that honestly usually doesn't even look that great. I see them on the internet all the time where it's like somebody makes this, you name it, and they paint it themselves and everything. And at the end, I'm like, yeah, but I know you get a lot of pride of making it yourself, but also you could just go down to the store and get something a lot more durable and something that, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they have done studies. You do like things that you made yourself more. It's a higher value than something. I mean, it makes sense. But then even like IKEA furniture and stuff like IKEA furniture, things like that. If you bought it in the form that you made it, you pay a lot less than the version that you made yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, after I made it, yeah, like this is such a good table. But if you were just to buy the table from someone else at the exact same quality, you would pay a lot less money for it.
That is true, probably, because IKEA furniture itself is pretty bland and not much to it, right? So, yeah, there you go. Well, I think let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Well, out of 5 water towers, how many would you give today's episode? Nathan, why don't we start with you this time?
Okay. You know what? I'll say 4 water towers. Why not?
Whoa.
I think it's my favorite this season so far, and based on the second season, the reboot, I think it's definitely on the higher side. Like it was enjoyable. So.
Okay. Kelly, what about you?
I think I'll go with 4 as well. The first Warner segment and Pinky and the Brain were really strong. This is one of the best Warner segments I've seen in the reboot in a long time, I think. But because it really felt like a classical one, and was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think I will actually give this one. I was going to get 3.5, but in the spirit of triple agreements, I will give it a 4 as well for this one.
Triple agreement.
Triple agreement.
I think this is the highest rated episode. No, I mean, there's one that
there was one other one.
There's 2 others I think that got 4 as the highest.
Okay,
on average. So
there we go. And if we can at least get one episode per season like this, then I guess we're good. Maybe we'll get more. It's early in the season for us watching these, so hey, there might be another 4 or even higher. What?
Ooh.
Maybe not, but we'll see. But yes, this one does seem like a lot more like in tune with the original series. And I will say, the one thing that I almost gave this kind of a 3.5 is the fact that the first episode, the first segment, I thought they could have put in the actual voice actors making animal noises or something. I thought that would have been a little funnier than actual just random sound effects. But you do get a sense of, I guess, how horrible writers' rooms are. And because, Paul would talk to me about, how much that is not how the original Animaniacs was written. And it really makes me just wonder with this show, like, gosh, I really wish that they just brought in, I mean, how hard would it be just to bring in some more of the classic characters instead of trying to make the gnome in your mouth or Starbucks and Cindy and stuff. And then I was thinking of this whole pitch thing. And so you're telling me that you guys pitched the gnome that comes out of people's mouths and that got approved? Like, really? That over bringing maybe Slappy back or
over Hog, Heron, Hamster Boy?
Exactly. Yeah. What? It was just kind of confusing because I've heard of the pitching and acceptance of having to pitch the original series to Spielberg and Spielberg saying which characters are okay and which characters weren't. And I don't know, was Spielberg the one that said that the gnome in people's mouths was okay?
He must have.
Right? I doubt it.
Okay,
I think he would give a final approval, though, right? I would
imagine. I think so. I don't know.
Some shows he's a lot more personally involved than others. So
it sounds like, from what I've heard, and is that Spielberg sounded like he was a lot more involved in this than the original series, at least in some aspects of it. I don't know. So I don't know. I'd love to find out. Did Spielberg give final approval?
I mean, and that's not saying it because that's just like what did he disagree with? What did he disapprove? It's like that was the best,
right?
That he had.
and did they have an idea? I mean, I kind of doubt they did, based upon what I know about the people who are behind the show who didn't really like this original series that much. I kind of doubt that they came to Spielberg like, hey, we think we could bring Slappy back, and Spielberg saying, no, let's not do Slappy anymore. Or let's not do Mindy and Buttons anymore. I think it was more of, decisions by, Wesley Wild and,
they want to do their own show, kind of. They don't want to just repeat a show that someone else did. They want to make it their own.
Right. But yes, at any rate, that was the only kind of thing that made me scratch my head with this particular episode. But still, I'll give it a 4 just because, again, it's one of the, definitely for the reboot especially, one of the stronger ones that at least gets close to what we're familiar with in the classic series. So there we go. Well, before we close things up, it's time for our new segment, Water Tower Trivia. And Nathan, give us the theme song to Water Tower Trivia.
What are you talking about? What are you saying? It's Water Tower Trivia for ya.
Thank you. And in this, we have 10 questions from the quiz book called Animaniacs Trivia Quiz Book, which can be found on Amazon, written by a fan. And I will not change the questions. Some of the questions are written kind of not so well, but that's okay because it just adds to the difficulty level. Ooh. Mm-hmm. So I believe last time we played, did we start with Kelly?
Started with Kelly last
time. So we're going to start with Nathan.
I want to be number one. I don't want the Yakko's World questions.
Okay.
Yakko's World.
Yakko, see, you're already getting that wrong. Negative. You're going to start with a negative point. Negative 1 point already. This is not good, Nathan. Okay. So we're going to go start off here. Quiz number 2. Question number 1. Which of the following is... okay. This is...
Is this exactly how it's written? Because you said you'd say it exactly how it's written.
I'm going to read this exactly how it's written.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Which of the following is not one of the alternative lyrics to the Animaniacs theme song? Nathan?
That's the... So which of the following is not an alternative lyrics to the Animaniacs theme song?
Yep.
Okay. I'll say going insane-y.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect.
Okay.
The correct answer was correct.
Kelly Conceal.
I'm sorry, Kelly. Do you have an answer?
What? Ask the question again.
Oh, it's a good question. Which of the following is not one of the alternative lyrics to the Animaniacs theme song? That's your question.
But there's no choices.
Yep.
I guess it might be a yes or no question. You could try answering that way.
That is the question.
What's your answer?
I have no idea.
The correct answer is down the drainy, folks. Come on. Now, technically, the author did not even provide that as one of the choices, but, yeah.
I don't think going insane is one either. So
no, I don't think so. I could have gotten a point. Okay. Or just the answer no was also a good point. So you both get 1 point. Very good. So Nathan, you're at 0, and Kelly, you're at 1.
Who's at 1?
Okay. Kelly, this next question is for you. Which of the following have the Warners not sung about?
Oh, no. They haven't. I don't know.
All right. Nathan?
I can try to steal? Okay.
Yes, go and steal.
I'll say, making, so many things. Okay, the Washington Monument.
That is both incorrect, but since the answer is timeline of world history, but since, once again, they did not provide any answers, we're both going to give you points because they both did not sing about those. So, Kelly's at a 2, Nathan's at 1.
Oh, it's a good thing we didn't mention, something that they did sing.
All right, Nathan, which song... Another horrible question. I mean, great question. Which song here is not an Animaniacs song about geography?
Oh, okay. Probably What We Eat.
Okay. Nathan, that's not about geography, so I'm not going to give you a point on that. What We Eat.
So the song is not about geography?
It's not about... Which there is not an Animaniacs song about geography?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, it's true. It's true. It's not about geography. Okay. We'll give you a point, but that's not it. Okay. Kelly, any possible answer for that one?
Video review.
That is also a good answer. We'll both give you points. However, the answer was good answer. But the correct answer that he's looking for is Dot's Waterworld.
What?
Yeah, just go with it. All right, number 4. Okay, this actually might be something you could actually figure out if you have a really good memory. I believe this goes to Kelly.
I think. Mm-hmm.
Kelly, which president do we see talking to Dr. Scratch and Sniff? Ooh, I know why this is, actually. After I see the answer, especially. Now I know what this is. What president do we see talking... Although I will say, I don't know if they... nope, okay, I got to keep it the exact same.
Yeah, you don't say anything. You're already giving away too much. Yeah.
What president do we see talking to Dr. Scratch and Sniff, Kelly?
Is it Bill Clinton?
No, that is incorrect. Nathan, this is your chance to tie.
Is it Ronald Reagan?
That is correct. It was in the first episode, right?
In the picture, right?
In the pictures, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, not even in the pictures.
Just in person.
Remember, he goes, I believe he wasn't a president at the time, but he was just a movie star. So, yeah, there you go. He was actually talking to him. There
we go.
Okay.
Cool. I stole it. Yes.
Yes.
Now we're tied.
Okay. Nathan, Yakko mentioned one city during the song. You know, the song. What city was it?
This is Yakko mentioned a city?
Yes, Yakko mentioned one city during the song. What city was it?
Oh man. I'll say Washington, D.C.
Okay, Kelly, do you have an answer to steal? That is incorrect, Nathan.
Okay.
No, nothing pops in my head.
You can name any song. It might be
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh.
Is that in the nations of the world?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because Puerto Rico. Okay, there we go. Okay, so back to Kelly. We're still tied. Which character likes to say Fabu?
Wacko.
That is correct. Okay. Number 7 for Nathan. Slappy and Skippy go back to the 1700s for Frontier Slappy. Who wants to cut down her tree for his house?
the bad guy.
The bad guy. They sing about him. Oh, I shouldn't say that. It's clues.
The Davy Crockett. I can't remember. Like Kelly.
I'm sorry, Nathan. That is incorrect.
Okay.
Kelly, for your chance to steal and take the lead.
Who was Miles Standish?
No, that was, of course, in Turkey Jerky. But in Frontier Slappy, it was Daniel Boone was a great big man. Yes, a great big man. Daniel Boone is the correct answer.
Daniel Boone.
So, I believe we're tied still.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, boy, oh boy, this is going down to the wire.
I
Number
didn't get
8.
that negative 1 point. I would.
Oh, no, Nathan. I know. Jeez. All right, Nathan. Or actually, we're going to Kelly.
Is Kelly, yeah.
Kelly, okay.
Oh,
Kelly, which group performs in the Pigeon on the Roof cartoon? Which group performs in the Pigeon on the Roof cartoon?
I don't know.
Okay, Nathan, your chance for the lead.
Can
Which
I say
group?
the Good Feathers?
That is correct.
Oh.
They are. That was the group.
I was overthinking it.
You're overthinking.
Yeah, you got to throw in an answer of some sort of.
The thing, you got to start thinking like the author. Sometimes it's not that complex, or sometimes it's very complex because there's not many answers. Pick from this choice of infinite answers. Number 9, what was the final sentence in the cartoon? That's all we have. Nathan,
okay.
what was the final sentence in the cartoon?
I'll say, good night, everybody.
Okay. Kelly, that is incorrect, by the way.
Yeah, I figured. If you're going to Kelly.
Kelly?
What is Citizen Kane? No, that's at the end. No, I don't know.
Now that's comedy. There you go. You know, in the cartoon. Which number 10, we go to Kelly. And again, are we tied at the end right
I
here?
think I'm up by 1 point, so this could
tie it, and we'll
Kelly
just leave it as a tie like soccer. Here we go. Kelly, what is Slappy's only full-length episode called?
Woodstock Slappy.
I'm sorry.
That
is not a full-length cartoon.
full-length one.
Nathan, for the win to seal the deal. Yes.
All right.
But what is the answer?
The answer is Slappy goes to the crazy house.
That's
Slappy gets Dementia.
Slappy gets dementia. The correct answer, well, Nathan is referring to the episode entitled One Flew Over the Cuckoo Clock. But
I knew which one it was, but
well, unfortunately, we can't give you a point. But Nathan, you still won this round. Well, there you go. There's our thing of Water Tower Trivia, a very confusing trivia game. Hope you enjoyed that. Hey, let's get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Joey, I'm on Twitter. JangoFT, that's me.
All right. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS.
All right. As for the Animanicast, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and other podcast players. You name it, we got it. Hey, subscribe to us there. Become a patron over at patreon.com/Animanicast for great stuff and things. And you'll support our show too, which is also fantastic. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
We have a busy day ahead of us.
I'm going to college! I can't believe it! I don't even remember taking the ABCs.